Good morning, students. Today we are going to do the revision of the chapter, the last lesson for CBSE board examinations. So, this is a chapter about the story of language, identity, and regret, written by Alphonse Daudet. What exactly is the setting of this chapter? So, it was set up during the Franco Prussian War of 1870-71. What exactly was the conflict we are going to discuss in this chapter? The conflict was that two towns of France were taken over by the German forces, the Prussian forces, and those two towns were Alsace and Lorraine, as I have just mentioned. Moving towards what exactly was the conclusion, what exactly happened. So, this chapter starts from the day when it was decided that only German is going to be taught in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine, and there will be no more French lessons. So let's see a brief introduction of this chapter. So if you can see, it is written by Alphonse Daudet and it narrates about the year 1870 when the Prussian forces under Bismarck attacked and captured France. The French districts of Alsace and Lorraine went into the Prussian hands. The new Prussian rulers discontinued the teaching of French in the schools. Note it. Discontinued the teaching of French in the schools. So, this may be the first question about what exactly was the conflict, what exactly was happening over there in Alsace. Then, the French teachers were asked to leave. Hamel, after almost 40 years of teaching, was supposed or was asked, forced basically to leave the town and no more teaching French. It was a cultural shock, a linguistic shock. What happened afterwards? Still, he gave the lesson to his students with utmost devotion and sincerity as ever. One such student of M. Hamel, the main character of the story, is Franz. Franz himself is symbolic of the French nation. The nation was losing its language, same way this child who has never been sincere about the language learning, today itself was feeling a regret of not learning it. Why? Let's see. So, one such student of M. Hamel was Franz, who dreaded French class and M. Hamel's iron rule. He was not so serious about learning. What exactly is the story? Let us now start with it. So, gist of this lesson is Franz is afraid of going to school as he has not learned participles on the day. He rather chose, woke up late in the morning. He thought that he may stay outdoors. Why? The enjoying the beauty of nature, the bright sunshine, the birds chirping in the woods. He also noticed the precious soldiers who were drilling over there, the showcase of power. Moving forward, he noticed the bulletin board on the way, and this bulletin board is symbolic of what? The bad news. Two marks question for CBSE board examinations. What was there on the bulletin board? Lost battles, drafts, orders of the commanding officers. Today, on that particular day, Franz wondered what could be now. But as he has no time to stop over there and look over at the bulletin board, he ran towards the school. Moving further, the changes he noticed in the school. Now, what kind of changes Franz noticed in the schools is a two-mark question for CBSE board exams once again. And the changes were, let's see, next point. Instead of noisy classroom, everything was quiet as Sunday morning, and the teacher does not scold him and told him very kindly to go to his seat. Normally, whenever Franz used to come late to classroom, the teacher used to ask him, scold him, and used to sometimes send him outside the classroom too. But on that particular day, he did not do so. So Franz started understanding what was happening. And then what happened? The teacher was dressed in his Sunday clothes, the best clothes on that day, the frilled shirt, the green coat, which showcases something was important. Franz was curious. Then he noticed the village elders were sitting at the back seats. So this question will also come for 2 marks. Why the village elders were sitting at the back seat on that particular day, on the day of the last lesson? The answer to that is they have come to pay tribute to their teacher who has been teaching in this village for almost 40 years. And they have also come to pay tribute to their mother tongue, French language. Then villagers occupying the last benches to pay tribute to M. Hamel for his 40 years of sincere service. M. Hamel making announcement that it is going to be his last class. Here will come a two-mark question. Whom did M. Hamel blame for not learning French seriously? He blamed two people, not just the students, because when he gave Franz the task of reciting the participles, he realized Franz was not prepared. He did not scold Franz. Rather, he said that it is me who has never been serious about teaching French language, and he has sent the children either to water the plants or the flowers outside the school, and sometimes he has given them leave on the pretext of going for fishing. Second, he blamed the parents. Why he blamed the parents? For not sending kids to school, because sometimes they used to send their kids to the fields so that they can earn more money rather than learning French language. Why? Because the mindset was French can be learned anytime, but not today because it was the last day of French language. What happened? A realization strike. It was a thunderclap for Franz. What? This information that he may no more be able to learn the French language. On that particular day, a change came into France. The change was the lessons were very easy to understand. The old books, which used to be a burden for him to carry to school, became his best friends. The teacher, whom he used to be dreaded of, today became like so polite, and he was able to understand everything he was saying on that day. So that was a change we noticed. He realizes that no, he does not know his own mother tongue. He regretted why he had not taken his lessons seriously. He also realizes the reason why the teacher was dressed in the Sunday clothes. So, with that, we move on to the last part of the chapter. What was it? The lesson given by Hamel. Always keep the mother tongue close to your heart, as it is the key to prison of slavery. This question will come as 5 marks. How come a language be a key to the slavery? So it is very simple, because nobody can ever take your language away from you. If you keep hold of your language as tight as it, so no matter how long you are behind the bars, by writing your poetries, by writing your essays, you may inspire your countrymen, you may inspire your people to understand what you have lost, to understand that we have to fight together. So that is how the language is the key to any prison in the world. Moving forward, the atmosphere in the class, the teacher teaching sincerely and patiently, and even the students and parents, they were listening and studying with utmost sincerity. Franz wonders sarcastically if the Prussians can force even the pigeons to speak or sing in French, in German language. So no, it cannot be possible. The answer of this two-marker question is no, it won't be possible. Why? Because no one can force a language, linguistic chauvinism upon nature, animals, and birds. With that, we come to the end part of the chapter. M. Hamel, overcome with emotions, could not speak more and wrote on the board, Vive La France. And that means long live France. And with that, he gave this lesson, he gave this advice to all the kids over there and the parents, that make sure you keep this language close to your heart. Make sure you make France proud. Make France proud of you one day. And with that, we come to the end of the chapter, which talks about these things. If you look at the theme of this chapter by Alphonse Daudet, patriotism, freedom of language, love for one's mother tongue. As you can see on the screen, so it totally depends upon how much care you do of your own mother tongue, how you preserve your language. This question will come for 5 marks. And by now, I hope you all have understood this chapter and will be able to answer this question. The story reflects upon the arrogance of the colonizer to forcibly take away rights of those who are colonized. This chapter stresses on the importance of education and the necessity to respect and learn one's own language. The story draws our attention to the unfair practice of linguistic chauvinism. It refers to an unreasonable pride in one's own language while disregarding all the other languages as inferior, which is done by the colonizers forever. The people living in the regions of Alsace and Lorraine are the victims of this aggressive concept of linguistic chauvinism. This word is coming again and again, so make note of it. They are forcibly made to learn German. In this story, the author brings into limelight the oppression of majority. The story also makes a universal appeal in highlighting our tendency to take things or value things more when those are taken away from us and take them lightly, just like class 12 students. Sometimes they don't study initially, but then they rush to learn everything when it comes to the end, the board examinations are coming. So it is more like a hustle we do in the end. So finally, coming to the end of the story, it is only when they are denied the freedom of knowing their own language that they realize how sorry they are for not paying enough attention to the French class. The sense of loss is suggested by the mentioning of the Prussian drilling forces. The sense of defeat is evident in his tone, which is usually strict and cranky, but today he was gentle, quiet, and motionless. It is not justified to take away the natural right of someone to speak their mother language. The solemnity of the classroom builds on the mood of gloom and despair. These two particular emotions, the gloom and despair, are very important in this chapter. Now, if you look at some of the extra questions, who is the writer? Alphonse Daudet is the writer of this chapter. Main characters, Franz and Hamel. The task Franz got was to learn the participles. These are one markers. If we move on towards next questions, why did he think for a moment he was about to leave? He thought of leaving the school. He thought of running away. When Franz was passing the town hall, what he noticed? He noticed there was some order that has come from Germany. So that was what he noticed. What was the order? To teach German instead of French language. What did M. Hamel say when Franz enters in the class? He said, "Go to your seat quickly, little Franz," very politely. What strange things to Franz experience when he was about to enter the school that day? I have already told you that he noticed the silence as good as Sunday morning. What does he saw when he enters the class? Everyone sitting silently, obediently, with the villagers sitting at the end of the class. So then M. Hamel, what he said, he told them about the new order and him going away from that particular day onwards. Then if we move on towards the more important questions, what changes did the order from Berlin cause in the school on that day? The changes were that no more French language will be taught. Students became more sincere. Franz himself became sincere and no more reluctant to learn his own mother tongue. The parents became aware about their mistakes and they also wanted to pay respect to their mother tongue. How did Franz feeling about M. Hamel and the school change? I have told you already through the notes that now he started respecting M. Hamel more and the chapters became quite very easy for him. The books became his good friends, good old friends. Then finally, what changes did the writer find in the school? We have already answered this question. The people in the story suddenly realize how precious their language is, that we have seen through the villagers' response. Then next is Franz was very frightened. Why he was so? Because of course he was afraid he may never be able to learn French anymore. What did the first thing M. Hamel told that day in the classroom? We all know about it. And with that, we have done the revision of this chapter. We have come to the end of this chapter. If you have liked and understood this chapter very well, so make sure to watch my next video where we are going to do a quick revision of the next chapters of class 12th, important topics coming for the board examinations. Thank you very much, students. Have a nice day.